Today, we're going to unpack the incredible story of a single breed of chicken. And its story, believe it or not, kind of mirrors the history of the entire nation. So let's just dive right in with a question that really gets to the heart of it all. Before we had these giant factory farms, there was one chicken that was, well, the chicken. Any ideas which one it was? If you guessed the Plymouth Rock, you are spot on. For decades, this was, hands down, the most widespread and recognized chicken in the entire U.S. Seriously, if you closed your eyes and pictured a chicken on a classic American farm, chances are you were picturing a Plymouth Rock. So where did this barnyard superstar even come from? Well, its origin story isn't quite as straightforward as you might think. It all starts way back in 19th century New England, a real hotbed of Yankee ingenuity and practicality. Now, this is where the story gets kind of weird. The breed first pops up in 1849, makes a splash, and then, poof, it just disappears for 20 years. It wasn't until 1869 that a guy named D.A. Upham basically recreated it. He didn't just find it, he engineered it. And by 1874, it was so well established that it got its official spot in the first ever American Standard of Perfection, which is pretty much the official rulebook for what makes a perfect show-quality bird. So, how do you pull it off? Well, you can think of it like a genetic recipe. He took some of the best and most popular breeds of the time and combined their traits. This was no happy accident. It was a very deliberate creation, designed from the ground up to be the ultimate all-American chicken. Which brings us to the big question, right? What was the secret sauce? What made the Plymouth Rock so special that it became the country's most popular bird for so long? Okay, let's start with the basics. We can look at its stats here. It's a solid, sturdy bird. Good weight for meat, lays those nice brown eggs everyone wanted. But honestly, the real magic isn't just in these numbers.
And this is where it all comes together. The Plymouth Rock was the perfect package deal. It was a true dual-purpose bird. You got both meat for the dinner table and a ton of eggs. It was incredibly tough, so it could handle harsh winters without a problem. And it was low maintenance. To top it all off, the hens were fantastic mothers, which meant the flock could just keep going on its own. It was the perfect, self-sufficient animal for families and small farms all across America.
And get this, we're talking about 200 eggs a year from a single hen. For millions of people, that wasn't just breakfast. That was a reliable source of food, and for many, a small but really vital source of income.
But then, everything changed. After World War II, America's whole relationship with farming and food just got turned on its head. And with that huge shift, the fate of the Plymouth Rock took a really dramatic and kind of ironic turn.
And here is the great irony in this whole story. The exact same things that made the Plymouth Rock a star on the family farm, its good size, its hardy nature, also made its genetics incredibly valuable for creating the industrial broiler chicken, the ones that grow super fast, specifically for meat that you find in the supermarket today. So, as its own popularity as a purebred just plummeted, its DNA became a building block of the very system that made it obsolete.
So, after basically being used to create its own replacement, what happened to the original Plymouth Rock? Did it just fade away into history? Well, not quite. Thankfully, its story doesn't end there. After falling out of fashion for decades, the Livestock Conservancy now lists the Plymouth Rock status as recovering. Now that means it's out of the critical danger zone, but it still needs people who are dedicated to breeding it to keep it going strong. And that recovering status, that's a really big deal. It means at least 2,500 new birds are being officially registered every single year. This doesn't happen by accident. It's happening because of a really passionate effort by breeders and hobbyists who want to preserve this living piece of American history.
So the bottom line is, while it will probably never be the most common chicken in America again, its legacy is safe. With a global population around 24,500, this historic breed isn't going anywhere anytime soon.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? The journey of the Plymouth Rock perfectly tells the story of the huge shift in American agriculture, from the small family farm to the industrial factory, and now to this modern movement that really values heritage and where our food comes from. And it leaves us with this final thought to chew on. The history of what we eat, even something as simple as a chicken, is often so much more complex and fascinating than we could ever imagine. And it holds some powerful clues, not just about our past, but maybe, just maybe, about where our food system is headed next.